Welcome to Create by T. I picked up this little nightstand side table off of Facebook Marketplace and I paid $15 for it. After getting it home and wiping it down and taking the drawers out, I realized it is not really made of wood but more of just the fake cheap stuff, so it was kind of rough. I did start by painting it with some white chalk paint. It did take a few coats, and it didn't really have a nice smooth surface to it, but I wanted to be able to at least get my money back, so I continued on. After the paint was dry, I took my Waverly antiquing wax over the face of the drawers and then wiped it off. I decorated the top with a book, some thrifted candlesticks, a vintage clock, and some greenery, and this is how it turned out. My next project is a Kirkland's dupe. They are selling the set of 6 clipboards for $90. So I ordered a set of 3 off of Amazon. They were under $10. I wanted to age them, so I took a screwdriver and just scratched up the surface on the board part as well as the metal clip. Once that was done, I took my Waverly antique wax and brushed it on, as well as just stippling it onto the metal clip and letting it dry to give it an aged, rusty look. Next, I let all 3 of them dry. Once they were dry, I took my crocodile tool and punched 2 holes on each side of the clip, and then I took some jute twine and ran it through to give it a hanger just like Kirkland's has. And this is how they turned out. My next project is this little candle holder. I got it at Goodwill and it has these little votives in the top. So I took those out and got rid of the candles. I paid $3.99 for it. I taped off the outer part. I was okay with the green, but wanted to cover up the cherries part. While I was doing that, I went ahead and soaked the votive holders so that they would be nice and clean. And I did about 3 coats across just that top square to cover up where it had the cherries graphic. Once that was dry, I wanted to add something to the front of this candle holder. I had ordered from Etsy this bunny mold, and I will link that below. And I am also going to use some of this air dry clay that is from Hobby Lobby. I've dusted my mold with some cornstarch and just applied the clay in there. Once it is formed, I took it out and I placed it on top of the candle holder. I did use some Mod Podge and put it on the back, and then I just let it the glue dry while the clay was drying overnight. I wanted to add some color to this, so I took my antiquing wax and a small little paintbrush and just dry brushed over just the bunny mold part. I wiped it down and this is how it turned out. We're going to keep going with some of the spring ideas. I might have a little bit of spring fever. All right, next up is this wood piece. It was an unfinished piece that I picked up from the Goodwill, and it's just like a little wooden wall pocket. It was $3.49. I did go ahead and stain it with some antiquing wax. Then I took that same bunny mold and I made another molded bunny out of it. I let it dry while it was placed over the wood piece so that it would dry on the curve, and glued it on. I did take my antiquing wax and dry brushed the bunny so it had a little more dimension. And then I added some lavender that came from, I believe, Walmart last year. And this is how it turned out. A nice little piece for spring. Recently at Walmart, I found these little decorative breadboards. They were originally $6.44, and when I got to the checkout, they were on a clearance for $1, and they rang up for 64 cents. So I did grab all three. I missed the video, but I did paint them all white. And then I went over it with some antiquing wax. I was trying to cover up the wording. In hindsight, I should have sanded it off, but I didn't. I just tried painting over it, and you could keep seeing through it. After gluing the bunny on and letting it dry, I did dry brush it again like the others and wiped it down. I then took it and I sanded the edges of the board, and then I took some thrifted lace that I had and wrapped it through the little hole so that it could hang, and this is how it turned out. I hope these makeovers gave you some inspiration. If you enjoy this sort of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.